So, Tom, here we are, day 5 of the Chambridge, and good to have a bit of a chat about some of the things that have come up in rehearsal. And I guess my first question to you would really be, why have you chosen the theatre to tell this story that spans 8 decades and has 25 characters in it?
Well, it's because it spans 8 decades and it's got 25 characters in it. The whole point about the theatre and what the theatre can do is it can jump from place to place and time to time in the flash of an eye, and that's something that's very difficult to do in any other medium. And you can have 2 scenes playing at once and they can comment on one another, and one scene can be in the present and one scene can be in the past, yet they're all part of a whole. I think the other thing about theatre is you can have naturalism sitting alongside of things that are slightly less natural, and yet they both make sense and they work together for a bigger whole, and you can't do that in other medium. That's the main reason.
And it sort of strikes me that we live in a world nowadays where history's everywhere. We've got Foxtel's History Channel, history movies, telemovies, history YouTube channels. I guess, is the Chambridge part of that whole, focus?
Yeah, so what it's doing is actually asking, why have we got such a focus on history, and especially that particular era of history, that mid-20th century conflictual history and the great moral dilemmas around it. And so it's asking, well, why are we still so obsessed about this, and why is it so much a part of our modern culture as well?
And having spent a lot of time on the floor looking at characters, very complex characters, what do you do in terms of how you go about creating these characters?
So they aren't based on any particular person or even amalgam of people, although, I have been influenced by lots of people I know, and I see parts of myself seeping in there even though I never realised it. But really it's iterative. This is the thing they never tell you about writing, is that it's 99% perspiration. It's going back and rewriting and looking again and again, and each time you do it, you add a little bit more layer, and you make them more rounded as well, more complex, real.
So you told the actors that this was a bit of a twisted love story and about familial love. Do you want to sort of expand on that for us? So
it is about how families survive great moments in history, and often catastrophic moments in history, and what that does to families and what it does to love within families and their capacity to love one another and how they love one another. And so, yes, it's about that aspect of families, and then how that ripples out into the rest of our society, how it marks our society. And with Australia being a society of immigrants, we are marked perhaps more than others by family history.
And leading on from that, there is nothing like a show that takes you out of your comfort zone. Does the Chambridge do that?
I think it surprises people. I think it tries to lure people into a certain type of comfort zone. It puts up certain ways of telling stories, and then it rips the carpet out from underneath them. So in that sense, yes, it will.
And I guess, I'm passionate about writers and new writing. I know you are. Why should Canberra audiences engage with new work and by a contemporary writer when they love so much going to the classics?
Canberra is filled with people who are intelligent, people who think about their society and think about the world around them. And I think Canberra's got a lot of people who analyse things intellectually. What the theatre gives them and what new writing in the theatre gives them is a combination of that analysis, but also feeling, emotion, and different ways of seeing the world that they perhaps don't always go to first off. I think they'll find it illuminating in that sense.
And so is it a play of ideas or a play of emotion?
It's both. And it's a play about character as well.
Great. Thanks.
My pleasure.